Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. So we are going to be talking about the new STI. Yes, there's a lot of speculations of what it can be, what it may look like, but honestly, there's not really that much out there yet. There's been a few articles that have been released that seem to be pretty credible, and the information seems to be, on par with what we're kind of hoping for and what we kind of want out of the STI. I did a video, maybe, I forget when it was, maybe a few months back in January, around that time. I'll link it in the top right corner for you guys. Forbes actually released an article talking about the new generation STI. At the time, it was the 2021 STI. We don't know if that's gotten pushed back to 2022 due to everything going on. But Forbes was claiming, they had a lot of credible sources from there, and they were claiming that the new STI was going to be 400 horsepower. Comparing to the current generation, which is mine is a 2017, so I have the 305 horsepower engine, and the 2019 and 20, they got the update, which is 310. Nothing to write home about, but it is an increase. Now they're claiming it's going to be 400 horsepower. So immediately that got a lot of people's attention. Every single WRX, every single STI, and every single Subaru enthusiast has been wanting. This current EJ motor has been in the car forever, and everybody knows that it's tired and old and the same thing over and over. I still love this motor. I think it's so much fun. I have no problems with this motor. It's still a great engine and I have a great time with it. But obviously, when you run something for so long, people start getting antsy and they just want something different. And with Subaru and with STI, it's a little bit different. It's not as big of a company as you actually think. The current S209 has 350 horsepower. And if you actually look at how that car is made, it's actually made by STI, which is a very, very, very small company actually. And they're all made by hand, or the motors at least. And that's why it's so expensive, but we're not going to that right now. That car has 350 horsepower. So to me, I was like, oh, that's probably where the new STI is gonna be. The S209 obviously is a very special and limited edition STI. So who knows what's gonna happen, but I don't know. 400 horsepower and probably a sub $40,000, economy, four-door, fun sports car, performance-oriented car, whatever you wanna call it. I just didn't really see it happening. I had my speculations, but I was like, you know what? If that's what they're gonna do, that's awesome. Who doesn't want 400 horsepower? Granted, I don't think this car needs that much, but if it comes from the factory with a warranty, I'm not gonna be the one to complain. It's obviously pretty cool. But the new article that just came out had a lot of credible sources, seems very realistic, and they actually said it is going to have 390 horsepower. It's still close to that 400 horsepower number that they originally said. So I'm pretty confident, just based on what I've been reading and the credibility of these actual articles, it's probably gonna be around that number, which is impressive. That's gonna be pretty cool. I'm really curious how that power is actually gonna be delivered. But obviously these cars are very tunable. Once these cars get in tuners' hands, they're gonna be monsters. And if you can get this car for under 45,000, that is gonna be a game changer, honestly. That's gonna be pretty crazy, but we don't know anything yet. All we know is the horsepower number and basically what engine they're gonna be using. So right now, the Subaru Ascent, which is their family 3-row SUV, they're using the new FA24 motor, 2.4 motor. That's most likely what is gonna go in the new STI. Obviously, it's gonna be different internals, different tuning. There's gonna be a different turbo. It's gonna be more STI and tuning based. It's gonna be faster. It's gonna be, stronger, and it's going in the performance car. It's not gonna be muddled down, just basic version. So that's pretty cool. What a lot of companies do with the new motor, they actually put it into their, I wouldn't say basic cars, but a simpler car that doesn't really have that much strain or anything like that, and they just do real world testing. And by the time they get all that testing and all that data in, they will be able to drop it into a performance-oriented car like the STI. And it's gonna be, honestly, I'm ecstatic about this. I think this is gonna be awesome. This is exactly what all the STI enthusiasts need. This is what we all been wanting. And I'm really excited for it, honestly. Before the pandemic, a lot of people were saying that we were gonna see some updates, by the summer of 2020, which is right now. But with everything going on, honestly, I'm not surprised that we're not really seeing much yet. I think they're going to push it to the 2022 year. They're not going to release a car in a recession, especially a car that is something like this. They don't update very often, so they're probably going to wait a little bit. So I'm not going to be surprised if they don't release them until the 2022 year. Now it could be sooner. We maybe start seeing some spy shots, getting a little bit more information soon, or sooner I should say. But honestly, I really don't see people being able to get their hands on them until spring of 2022, which is more realistic. And I understand. Obviously, it's something that they've taken a lot of time with. They're not rushing. What's another 2 years? But who knows what's going to actually happen? Maybe we'll see something sooner. I would love to see something sooner, but most likely it's not going to be until another 2 years. So that kind of begs the question: are you interested in STI now? What you should do? Should you wait? Should you buy a current gen STI? Personally, if I was in the market for an STI, I wouldn't wait. I would just buy the current generation, enjoy it now, because by the time the new one comes out, you'll be 2 or 3 years into that ownership, and then you'll probably be ready to get into something else, whether it be the new STI or whatever it is you want to move to. But you obviously don't always want to buy the first model year of a new car. You want to get all the kinks worked out, so you'll probably be waiting till 2023, which is 3 years from now. It's up to you if you want to wait. And also another thing to consider, it's going to be a brand new car. It's something that everybody is going to want. And what dealers do, which I think should be illegal, is they mark them up like crazy. Look at the Type R, look at the Focus RS. Those things, they were marking them up to 50 grand, some of them 60 grand. Look at the new Corvette and the Supra. People were buying those things for 100 grand. And the new Corvette, the first one sold, I think it sold for $1 million at auction. I get it. I understand people want things, but in no way in my right mind would I ever buy a brand new model year car with a dealer markup like that. I'm sorry, if money is not an option for you, you're most likely not looking at an STI or a Focus RS or a Civic Type R or anything like that. I get it. I get people really want the new car right then and there. I get the want for it. But financially, that just doesn't make sense. You'll never even come close to making that money back. But I get it. I'm a car guy. If you really want the car, you're going to do it. And that's that. But personally, I would rather wait a year after it's been released so all the kinks are worked out and they can make any changes that they need to make. Look at the Focus RS. They had head gasket problems, I believe, in the first year or two. And then after that, they fixed the issue. But that's just little things like that would just really bother me after spending $40,000, $50,000 on a car. And then having these issues right away. I just want to be able to get in the car and enjoy it. That's what I wanted to do with this one, and that's what I have been doing for the past going on 4 years. It really depends on what you want to do, but personally, if I was in that situation of looking for a new car or a new STI, I would go with this current generation, enjoy it, modify it, do what you want, and then wait to see what happens with the new one. But either way, I'm personally really excited to see what happens with the new generation STI. I think it's going to be an absolute animal. They have a lot to live up to here. The STI is a pretty hot car in the tuning world, especially something that is as affordable as it is. They really have a lot to live up to. I hope they do it justice, which I'm pretty sure they will. They have taken their time with it. So honestly, I think they're just making sure it's going to live up to the STI name, and they're not going to just release anything just to release something just to make people happy. I believe in them. I believe that they'll give us a really good STI. This has been a very long time coming, and this motor obviously has been in here for a very long time, but still people love it, people enjoy it, people still buy them, it's still in demand. So that just goes to show what they have done with this motor and just the current STI. Now pricing obviously hasn't been released, but with more power, with more car, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Now it's probably not going to be like 60 grand, which God, I hope not. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the 40s now. For a base STI, you can get it for like 35, 36 or so. And then, with the limiteds, you're kind of bumping it up into the 40s. So who knows what's going to happen. I think maybe the base is probably going to be in the upper 30s. And then, once we get into the limited with more options and everything like that, you'll definitely see 45-ish, mid 40s. I don't even want to know what the dealer markups are going to be, but you know, MSRPs are probably going to be around that area, which I'm okay with, totally fine with. Honestly, I'd rather have a more expensive car with more power, with just updates and just, you know, I want that. I completely understand that, so I have nothing against with them, you know, bumping up the price. It's just what it's going to take to get what everybody wants out of this car, out of the new STI. A lot of people are going to complain, you know, oh, it's too expensive, this and that, but that's just the way it is. You know, if you want a better car, if you want a faster car, it's going to cost more money. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of R&D that people don't realize go into actually creating these cars, and it takes time and it takes money. And you know, in order for people to actually make a profit and actually keep doing it, they're gonna have to charge a certain amount. So it's gonna be more. So don't be upset when you actually see the number. It's gonna be a little bit more, I'm pretty certain of that. But for me, I don't care, it's worth it. If it's gonna be actual numbers that we're hearing, I really honestly don't care what it's gonna cost. Now there are some renderings floating around the internet that everybody has seen, and people have speculated all this and that. For me, I try my best not to make any judgments, any opinions yet. I like to see a car in person, in the flesh, in front of me, and then make my judgment. Obviously, it's hard to kind of get your, you know, not think of what you're thinking right away when you see the pictures. But renderings, I can't even, people take them, they do whatever they want to them, and then they put them on the internet, and people think that's what it is. And right now there's a couple of them floating around. I'll throw some up on the screen for you guys just so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the renderings that are floating around, but there's some weird ones going around. I honestly don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm really hoping they kind of do a complete redesign. Not that I don't love this. Obviously I own one and I've been enjoying it immensely. I'm just kind of hoping for some more aggression, wider fenders. You know, the one thing I miss about the previous generation, the GR, was how wide the fenders actually look. This car looks a little bit more subdued, a little bit more relaxed and not as aggressive compared to the previous generation. But that's just my opinion. I actually prefer the way the GR looks over the current VA in terms of, you know, the wide fenders and then the aggression. So I'm hoping they make it a little bit more aggressive, something appealing, not go over the top like a Type R. I think that is just too much, especially the rear end. I think the front end of the Type R looks really good, and then it kind of falls off towards the back, and I'm not a big fan of the rear end of those. So I'm hoping they take their time. I'm hoping they make it aggressive. You know, look, I talk about M3s a lot, but that is kind of just the car that I always compare it to in terms of, I think it's like the perfect aggression yet staying classy kind of car. And I really hope they do that with the STI. You know, it's kind of hard not to make it obnoxious with the giant wings that they put on the back of these, but they can do it with class. They can do it nicely. They can do it, you know, without making a huge statement just to make a huge statement and put fake vents everywhere. I really hope they take the time and actually make everything functional, make everything that's there, you know, there for a reason. You know, who knows what's gonna happen, but that's just what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to see something really cool, really aggressive, something that's timeless. It's gonna hold and age well, and you know, who knows what's gonna happen, but I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. Subaru has obviously made an impression on me. I've owned 3 Subarus in my life so far, probably gonna own more, there's no doubt about it. I love them, and you know, I'm really hoping they do something that's really going to wow us and just kinda take us to the next step and the next chapter of the STI, because this is an iconic car that everybody loves, despite what people think. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody, you know, wants one at one point, and you know, it's just a fun car that I feel like everybody should own at one point in their life. So that's it for this one, guys. I just wanted to share my thoughts of you know, what's could happen with the new STI. Let me know what you guys think, what kind of speculations you've heard about and everything. Again, there's really not much floating around, but maybe you heard something that I didn't, and we can, you know, have a conversation about that and share it with everyone around here. So that's it for this one, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you checking out the channel. I appreciate you guys listening to what I have to say about the new STI and not jumping down my throat saying that I'm wrong or this is silly or that's stupid, because nobody knows what's going on right now, despite other than what we know just based on the couple articles. Again, I'll link the article that I'm talking about below, so if anybody is interested, they can, you know, check it out and read it and see all the information that they want that I gathered for this video. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you in the next one.